is Bran. I'm an Essentials tutor and this year a Foundations tutor too. This is Dusty the cat. He loves Essentials. He doesn't like being held very much. This is Michaela. It's her second year in Essentials. This is Luke the dog. He just likes pets, like getting pet. So we're working on a sentence today. We've already done the labeling and the diagramming. It is sentence number 4 on page 171 of your solutions book. And you can finish that sentence and label it and diagram it before we get to what we're doing now, which is the quid et quo. Today we're going to do the entire quid et quo, which means we are going to put into action everything that you learn on your charts for all the different parts of speech, and we're going to break them down into the very molecule of everything you could possibly know about those individual words. That's what quid et quo is. It means the what and what of all of these words. So we're going to use a whiteboard. We like to use our whiteboard more than the ATS chart that you get. It's just easier to move around with so much information. Here we have our sentence that Michaela already labeled and diagrammed, and this is the sentence we're going to be using. I want you to know that we have never done all of the quid et quo at once before. This is the first time I'm ever doing it. This is the first time she's ever doing it. So it's going to be a lot of work. We've done it in parts before. We've done just the nouns or just the verbs or maybe 2 at a time, but we've never done every single word in the sentence before. So we're going to do it and learn together. We might make some mistakes, but you'll learn with us and see how we did it. So I've already put up here spots for each word. So Michaela is going to do one part of speech at a time. What you need to know about quid et quo is you actually take the words from the sentence that fit that part of speech as opposed to how that word is being used. For example, sometimes verbs are used as adjectives. Well, in the quid et quo, we would put that word under verb, not adjective. So you're putting the words into the boxes that are actually what that word by itself is, not how it's being used. How it's being used is part of the quid et quo. That's one of the questions. So first, let's do the nouns. So Michaela's going to look at this sentence and she's going to find all of the nouns, and there are 7 nouns. So she needs to look at the sentence and find every single noun and put it at the top of that box with one of the whiteboard markers. So Michaela, go ahead. While she's doing that, I have my page opened up to 173 where I have the answers to all of this. So Michaela, as you find your nouns, please put them up here in the boxes that they go.
There's the only one that knows.
You found 2 nouns? Okay, and what is a noun?
Followers is a noun?
Followers is a noun as well, yes. If you don't know what a noun is,
Nature?
I'm sorry?
Nature?
Nature? Oh, yes. Nature is a noun. If you don't know like what one of these parts of speech are, you want to have all your charts ready because you might not even know how to answer these questions without looking at the chart. So since we're doing nouns first, I'm going to find my noun chart so that I can help her, and she's going to find her noun chart when she's done finding the nouns too. Okay, so Michaela found all 7 nouns in the sentence. So first we're going to do the use. This is the easiest one. It's just asking, how is that noun being used in the sentence? She already labeled it. So now she can look at the labels on all of those nouns and she can write down how that noun is being used in the sentence. So Confucius was used as the subject. It's already labeled subject on top of it.
Will I be able to fit in the object?
Yeah, just write small enough. Follow. Okay, so now Michaela labeled all the uses, which was really easy because her words are already labeled in that sentence. So now the next question is the noun common or is it proper? So Michaela needs to look at each of those words and decide, are they common nouns or proper nouns? Confucius is proper, that's correct. Followers is common, that's correct. Compassion is common. That's correct. All right. The next thing Michaela is looking for is the number to these nouns. So that is just, is it singular or is it plural? So how do I know to ask that? Because on chart E, it says here, singular or plural. And then it has the definitions.
Wait.
And common or proper also has the definitions right there too. So Confucius.
All these,
Singular or plural?
all these singular except this.
Yeah, followers is more than one follower. So that one's plural. And then what you can do to save yourself time is just write singular and then draw a line. Singular. No. Try again. Singular. Singular. And then just draw a line throughout the one. No, there's no E at the end. Then just draw a line.
But I can't draw it.
True. So maybe you can do it on the next one. Ta-da! That makes that easy. Okay, so the next question is gender. So your options are masculine, feminine, or neuter. So neuter is neither masculine, boy, feminine, girl.
Masculine?
Yeah, Confucius is a boy, so that's masculine. You can just put MAC dot for abbreviation, so you don't have to write the whole word.
M-A-C dot?
No, M-A-S-C dot. Oh, you already wrote the S, now you're erasing it.
Wait, M-A-S.
C dot. Okay. Is there anything else that is not neuter in there? Like a person? Lazzo? So in other languages, some of those nouns are masculine or feminine, even if they're not actual
But
people.
these are neuter.
Yeah, the rest of those are going to be neuter.
Do we put any?
In the book, it says common as another option for gender, but I think that's either a typo or it's something that I don't understand yet. But last time I checked, it was a typo when that was there. So we're going to go with that. Okay. All right. You have another question here. So it is concrete or abstract. So if you don't know what that means, again, you can look at your chart E for everything about nouns. You have your definitions right here, concrete and abstract. Concrete names something that can be experienced with the five senses. Abstract names a concept, quality, or a condition that cannot be experienced with the five senses.
Concrete. Can you touch your phone? I think so.
Yeah, concrete. What about compassion? Is that something that you can feel or taste or hear or smell? No, so that's abstract.
And
Lazzo, that's a person. So is that something that you can experience with your five senses?
yeah.
Yes, so that one's going to be concrete. And then what about harmony? Is harmony something you can, yep. What about nature?
Yes. You can touch.
Yeah, so concrete for nature. Now you have one more question under nouns, but you filled up all the space in your boxes, so you can just squeeze it in there and somewhere else in the box where it doesn't even go because they're not lined up, but that's okay. The last question is, are they collective or compound? A lot of times they're neither. So for all of these words, are any of these nouns collective, which would be like a range of mountains?
No.
And are any of these words, or excuse me, that was compound, what I just said. No, that was, I'm forgetting. Compound. Collective is the range of mountains. Compound would be where you have two words joined together, like mountaintop. So are any of those compound? No, so we actually don't need to write anything for that one. So nouns are done. So now we're going to move on to pronouns. So now we got to find
There's
our
only
pronoun
one.
chart. There's only one pronoun?
Mhm.
All right, what is it? What is the pronoun?
What?
Pronouns is chart F.
What?
With is not a pronoun. You might be confused because it says PR on top of it, but that's the label for preposition.
I don't know.
So there's one pronoun. A hint would be, did you label anything as pronoun?
No.
No. If you didn't label anything with pronoun, you might have to look more closely because it might not be labeled pronoun, but still be one. It might be, the use of the pronoun might be something else, like an adjective.
His?
Yes, his is a pronoun. So his is your one pronoun, and that's the one we're going to do next. So we'll put the word his up there. You can put it in green so we can be consistent in that box. His. Okay, so now we're just asking what is the type. So the type of the pronoun is really easy. That's like asking the use. Oh no, sorry, it's not the same as asking the use. Use will be the next question. The type of the pronoun is just these options here. We have personal or other. So is this a personal pronoun or an other type of pronoun? Well, if it falls under any of these categories, it's personal. So Michaela, what do you think? Is his personal or other? His sounds personal, doesn't it? If it belongs to him, it's his, it's personal. Other would be pronouns like all, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either, like indefinite pronouns or relative pronouns like who, whom, whose, this, that, these, those, demonstrative. Those are all other pronouns, but the personal ones are like I, me, you, her, his, its, itself. Those are all personal.
Personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now the use is the easy part. Use is how you labeled it. How is that pronoun being used as an adjective? Correct. Person is, yeah, first, second, or third. So if we're saying his, first person is always talking about yourself and saying I. Oops. Second person is always talking about the person next to you, saying you. Third person is always talking about someone else. Neither I nor you, but his. So is his first person like you wrote? Or is it second person or is it third person? So his is saying I?
No.
Okay. So which person is it in then? First, second, or third? Were you listening to me when I explained it?
Yes.
Okay. So again, first person is saying I, second person is saying you, third person is someone else. So that would be third person. Okay, number is really easy. Is it more than one his?
No.
So it's got to be what?
Single.
Singular. Yeah. And then for this one, gender is going to be easy because it's his, so it must be masculine. Yeah. So we'll just do MAC dot for abbreviation, or MASC dot. Good. Okay. Now we're going to move on to adjectives. So I'm going to find my adjective chart so make sure I can help her. And Michaela might find her adjective chart too if she thinks she might.
But that's also an adjective.
No, remember when we do the quid et quo, we don't put the words up there based on how they're used. We do them based on the part of speech that they actually are all by themselves. So what is an adjective?
And
An adjective modifies a noun or pronoun by describing, qualifying, or limiting, and answers the questions, what kind, whose, which, how many. Okay, so do we have any adjectives? Oh, Kayla, you were right. For this one, we are going to use the word his again. I didn't realize that until now. So I looked at page 173 and I realized under adjectives, the word his is there again. So we're going to do the quid et quo for his as a different part of speech. Now we're going to do it as an adjective. So in this case, we are putting it in the box based on how it's being used. So we have a couple of different questions. One is degree. So if you look at chart J for adjectives, the three options we have for degree are positive, comparative, or superlative. Positive, an example would just be strong. Comparative, stronger. Superlative, strongest. So Michaela, is his positive, comparative, or superlative?
Wait,
It's actually none of those things, because this particular adjective doesn't even have the option of being something comparative or being something superlative, because I couldn't say hiser, right? And I couldn't say hisest, right? It's not even possible to do that. So we're not going to put anything under degree, okay? The next question is possessive. And you can see under here, we have options for possessive. Possessive noun adjective, possessive proper noun adjective, or possessive pronoun adjective.
It's possessive pronoun.
Yes, that's right, because his is a pronoun. So that is what we're going to write. Possessive pronoun adjective. As she's writing that, let me explain with this chart. When you look at what kind, whose, and how many, and which, those three columns are separating types of adjectives. So you're never really going to have an adjective in here that's also over here. They're only going to serve one of these three purposes. And so that's really almost all you're asking with adjectives. So there's nothing to write under limiting because it's not one of those. Okay, just like it's not one of these. The last question is modifies. What does his modify? Well, it modifies whatever word it answers the question for. So look at your sentence. What word is his modifying? What word is it answering the question for? Followers. So we just write followers. That's what his is modifying, the word followers. All right, we're speeding through this. Not too much more to go. All right, now we are on verbs. So I'm gonna find my verb chart, which is chart C. So I'm ready to go, and Michaela's gonna find the verbs, of which there are 3 in this sentence. There's one, there's one, there's one. Did, teach, and emphasized are all verbs. And that was easy for her because they were all labeled verbs too. Emphasized. All right, so when it comes to type, that's the easy part. It's like asking the use. What did we label it? How is that verb being used in the sentence? For did, what type of verb is it, Michaela?
Helping?
Yeah, it's a helping verb. She knew that because it was already labeled.
And these 2 are transitive.
Correct. And again, she knew that because they were already labeled VT. Yep. Now, person, first person, second person, or third person. To answer this question, we really have to look at the sentence because I'm not going to know how those verbs are being used in first, second, or third person unless I see the sentence. Because I could be saying, I teach. Well, look at the sentence. Does it say I teach? Does it say you teach? Or are we talking about someone else? In this sentence, are we talking about other people? Are we talking about the person next to us and saying you? Or am I talking about myself and saying I? So the sentence is, did Confucius teach his followers compassion and obedience? Well, Lao-Tzu. So are we talking about other people in third person? Are we talking about the person next to us and saying you? Or am I talking about myself and saying I?
Second.
So do you see the word you anywhere in this sentence?
The third.
Third person. We're talking about someone else. We're describing other people that aren't here. Okay? If Confucius was here next to me, I would say, did you teach? Okay, so all of them are in what person?
Third.
Third, yes. The whole sentence is about other people that aren't here. Okay, number is easy, singular or plural. So we're talking about did, teach, and emphasized. Or
Singular.
all of them are singular, that's right. Okay, voice is a little bit more tricky. So you can look at your chart if you need to. We have two options for voice, active or passive. Active, the subject performs the action. Passive, the subject receives the action. So let's look. Did. Is did talking about the subject? Are we saying did Confucius, or are we saying did someone else?
Did Confucius?
Yeah, so is it active then or passive? So if the subject performs the action, it's active. Are we talking about Confucius, the subject,
Yes.
when we say
So
did?
it's active.
So it must be active. Yeah, so did is active. Okay, now let's talk about teach. Are we still talking about Confucius, the subject, when we say teach?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's got to be active. Okay, what about emphasize? The subject here in this other clause is Lao Tzu. Are we talking about that subject, Lao Tzu, when we say Lao Tzu emphasized? Yes, so that's also active. Okay, the next question is mood. Three options: indicative, imperative, or subjunctive. That's our options for mood. Indicative makes a statement or asks a question. Imperative states a command, and subjunctive implies a condition contrary to fact or expresses a wish. So for this one, we're going to look at our sentence and think, well, is it imperative? Is our sentence stating a command? Does it say, Confucius, teach your followers? And Lao Tzu, emphasize harmony. Does it say that?
No.
No, so we know it's not imperative. Is it making a statement or asking a question? Did Confucius teach?
Yeah.
Yes, did Lao Tzu emphasize? So it must be what mood? If it's asking a question, it must be all of them.
Interrogative?
No, but close. Our options are indicative, imperative, and subjunctive. We already ruled out imperative because it's not stating a command.
Indicative?
Yes, all of them are indicative because the whole sentence is asking a question. Okay, you've used up all the space in your box, so we're going to have to squeeze in the other answers there because we still have to ask time and form. So time is present, past, or future. So let's look at our sentence. Are we talking about right now, the past, or the future? Did Confucius teach?
Past.
Yeah, all of them are in the past. Okay, and then when it comes to form, that's that one that's a little bit confusing, but we just have to look at our chart, see, and remember what those mean. Our options for form are simple, perfect, progressive, or perfect progressive. Perfect, progressive, and perfect progressive all have other verbs in front of the verb. Like to have would be perfect, to be would be progressive, and to have and to be would be perfect progressive. So let's look at all these verbs. Did, teach, and emphasize. Let's look at our sentence. Michaela, look at your sentence. Did, teach, and emphasize. Look at all three of those verbs. Do any of them have the verb to have in front of them?
No.
Do any of them have any form of the verb to be in front of them?
No.
So if they don't have what you need for perfect progressive or perfect progressive, they are all what kind of form?
Perfect.
Your options are simple, perfect progressive, and perfect
Simple.
progressive. Yes, simple. All of them are simple form. So her answers are not lining up with the words on the left, but that's okay. We're still answering the questions. Last one, conjunctions. All right, I'm going to find the conjunction chart while Michaela finds the conjunctions in her sentence. There are 2.
One.
No, there's 3.
Then what did you
I need to make another box up there. Can you
There's
make another
3?
box? Yeah, make one more box. There's 3 conjunctions.
Oh, yeah, I don't see one.
I know. One of them is being used in a way that you wouldn't guess. So chart H is our conjunction chart. So 2 of them are going to be easy to find, Michaela. Can you find those first 2 at least? Okay, did you write them up there? Okay, let's use green to be consistent. We'll write our conjunctions up there. We're almost done. Yes, and is 1. While is another one, that's right. And the last one that's going to be hard to find is going to be one of those conjunctions that are, let's see if it's even on this chart. Yeah, how did you know that?
Because that's the only one we didn't do yet.
Oh, because that's the only word left. Yes, with is being used as a preposition, but with is a conjunction too. I was hoping I could find it on chart H, but I don't see it here. It's going to be one of those other conjunctions. Okay, so let's take and first. Yeah, there's only two questions. One is it a conjunction? And what kind of conjunction is it? Coordinating or subordinating?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, that's easy because we already talked about that while we're labeling it. So is and a coordinating? Yep. Coordinating. So there's two O's. Coordinating. Coordinating. Okay. And then for while, we already know that's what type?
Subordinating.
Subordinating, that's right. So that's all you need to answer for those two. Now, the last one is with. Now, Michaela, is that a preposition? Is with being used as a conjunction, but it's also a preposition?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did we label it?
Preposition.
It's with nature. So this one in the book, it says adjectival. Adjective. Is it being used as an adjective? We know it's being used as a preposition, but we are going to call it adjectival. It must be under prepositions then. It must be on the prepositional chart. Because that's not helping me there.
Okay. Now we done?
We're done. We didn't explain that last part very well, but it's adjectival.